Thank you, Kellen. I'm truly grateful to be here and to be part of this conversation. Uh, my name is Michele Cintron. I'm the agency owner of Clear Health Concepts and co-founder of Purple Solutions Insurance Agency. I've been in the insurance industry for about 20 years now, but to be honest, I didn't choose it.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I have Michele Cintron. You know that name is like legendary, right? So we'll get into some of that, but I want you guys to really listen in. Whether you had $10 to your name, or if you're making 10,000 a month or 100,000 a month, heck, I don't care who you are. Everybody needs some types of in case stuff happens. You're gonna get the game on how she started, sustained, succeeded. Michele, welcome to Diversified Game. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Kellen, for having me. I am grateful and honored to be here. My name is Michele Cintron. I am an agency owner of Clear Health Concepts and co-founder of Purple Solutions Insurance Agency. I've been in the insurance industry for 20 years, and I was actually dragged into it. A lot of people ask me. I had a cousin who kept insisting this was an amazing path and I would be amazing at it. And I actually gave him my resume to shut him up. A day later, they called me. A week later, I was in training, literally learning about Medicare because that's where I started. And I started with Health First New York City. I stood with them about 10 years. And it's a great place to get that. They taught me how to connect with people, how uh, to learn what Medicare was for clients and how to explain it to make it easy. And I was bringing them a lot of value. They started off as a small company, and that gave them a lot of value, but it didn't give me a lot of control over my own future.
You've tried it your way, but you're still in debt. Or maybe you're doing okay, but want to invest smarter, grow faster. MillionaireX.ai gives you real step-by-step strategies to ditch debt or stack wealth. Stop dreaming and start planning. Visit MillionaireX.ai today. I want you to be the next millionaire next door.
Well, can we talk about, we met at Bowes Beach, and a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of young entrepreneurs, young or more mature, does not matter. When you talk to people, when you're doing your networking, are you finding out, especially from the young people, and even we can tap into the Black and brown populations. I have my Ghana shirt on right now because I want to represent, and we're bringing another, God willing, 30 people to Ghana this year, you guys. We just came from Ethiopia. I believe Cintron. Hold on, you guys. Let me see if I'm right. I believe that's a Puerto Rican last name, and so we can represent Puerto Rico and go to Rosa when you guys go and get your pinchos. But can you, for the young people and the Black and Puerto Ricans, to me, some of y'all can run away from this title. All of y'all are the same thing to me, the way we grew up. But are we getting enough health insurance, life insurance? Because I'm tired of the fish fry funerals where people have to raise money to cremate or bury somebody. So give us the game on that, because that's the part that I think we need to hear.
So that being said, we are not. We are not. I see a GoFundMe every other day. And not that I'm not an advocate for assisting other people, but we insure our cell phones. We insure our cars. We insure our homes. And yet, the most important thing, which is our income and ourselves, we don't cover. And I think it's lack of information because people are expecting that it's expensive, and that lack of connection leaves them without information that they really need, which they can actually have coverage pennies for the dollar, literally. And unfortunately, waiting until it's too late makes you uninsurable. So that is really the biggest factor. We get sick younger these days. People are not taking as good care of themselves, and that factors into people getting insurance, but not knowing about it is the number one problem.
Well, I don't know if you met Tyler from Wealthy Vibes at Bows Beach. He was there. I actually hired him to do a project for Millionaire X the next day. But I had told him that, and he said, that sounds good. But, and then he had some choice words, what the response is from his circle, because he's like 26 years old. And I don't know if you can help the ignorant. If somebody says, I'm willing to die on my sword and use heroin or make bad decisions for me and my family, I don't know if there's much you can do. But do you get a lot of pushback when you tell people that? Because when you told me that, I said, yeah, you're right. And I believe someone told me something similar. They didn't have your exact words, but something similar when we were in college, just in case something happened. I had something to lose in college. I had something to give away in college. So I just want to know, does that work with the younger population? Do they get it?
I want to say to the degree they understand that insurance is something that helps them cover a gap, but they're not informed. And I think that's supposed to start in the home. That starts with who guides you, who's giving you financial literacy. And if your parents don't know and don't have it, then you definitely don't have access to the information. Or you do, but you're not looking for it because you know, as a person who was licensed at 18, I was licensed at 18 for life and health. I had a larger understanding of what it meant. But most people don't understand how insurance even works, or they're told by ignorant people, oh, they don't pay. They're not going to pay you. You're never going to get that. You're paying for nothing. And so they don't have the appropriate information.
Okay. And getting that information, and people always say this in the community, they say, especially after they lost a fortune, since 78% or more of athletes retire broke. I'm a licensed sports agent in the state of Florida as well. And they say, well, no one ever told us. And we always say, no one ever told you to have sex, but you figured out how to have all these kids, and some of you don't even take care of them. You figured out everything else. You know where the next club and pool party and yacht party is. You have to search and find. So it's not an excuse for a grown person. It's also not an excuse, as I was telling you off there, to blame your wife, your mother, or your father. After a certain age, you have to take accountability and go to therapy. What can we do? Are we going to have Sexy Red start rapping about insurance and Kodak Black so they can hear us?
Well, I'm going to say yes, because for myself as an agency owner, I was adverse because I was a woman and I didn't want to be in the public eye. I was adverse to public and on social media. And then I realized that it's a huge gap because that's the way I can reach more people. I now put tips, what insurance is, what insurance isn't, so that people have access to the information no matter where they look. And you're right, to a certain degree, you're responsible for your actions and if it's not conceivable to you, and you can't believe what you can't conceive, that is a real thing. If it's something that was never spoken about or addressed, then how do you know what you don't know? And that's the sad part. I never gave credence to that before, because in my mind, I'm like, you have the internet. I tell my kids, you have Google, you now have ChatGPT. There is no reason why you have no information. You literally have it at your fingertips. We used to have to go look for that encyclopedia if you had one in your family. And yet I find that they know how to do so many things that are not relevant to insurance, but financial literacy is something that's still very obscure. And they find that insurance terminology, which is what I'm trying to make easy. That's why I say my thing is I make insurance easy. I try to make it understandable that the words that you're seeing are relatable to you, that they make sense. I think that's the biggest gap, people's understanding of what something means as opposed to what they're processing.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand? your team, and your future online and off? At CPRfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Kellen Coleman, we help our clients not only succeed, but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at CPRfirm.com.
I sometimes can hear the audience, and I definitely hear the team when I get an email or a comment about something, and well, you got to be more sensitive, Kellen. Not all of us, and I say I've cut so many teenagers off from the rope of trying to hang themselves in facilities when working in mental health. Those 14-year-olds and even 5-year-olds who we had to give lithium to and had been touched by everybody in their family, they didn't know. They didn't know. They didn't even have the internet. You can't even go outside in some of these facilities. That's where I give my I guess my grace to even more, because they really didn't know. They didn't know what the world had. They didn't know that it was going to be better after you get through this thing. But somebody who just came back and paid for a trip to Jamaica or anywhere on Clara, whatever they're doing the half down payment thing. You knew better, or you could have found out in mentorship. It's a big thing. And even if you have to pay for it, but there's mentors on every corner if you're looking and asking. What do you think that, for this next phase with AI, people are thinking, oh, I can probably do all this myself. I can self-insure myself. I've heard the thing, it's not life insurance. I'm buying death insurance. Yeah, we need something to bury you when you're done or cremate you. Sounds cool, sounds great for TikTok, but people shouldn't have to go into their pocket. And I'm someone who had buried 2 parents and never had to reach in my pocket to do it because they have their stuff together. Thank God. What are some more solutions to get through some of the thick skull people's head?
So, one I would say is understanding what coverages are involved with insurance. Some people understand annuities, for example, or they understand that life insurance covers death. What they may not know is that if you have a life insurance, you can actually pair that with a terminal illness or use an annuity to cover additional riders that include coverage for not when you just die. How about if you get sick and you live? What happens for those instances? And you want to make sure that you don't outlive the money that you've earned. So how do you do that if you can only earn but so much because now you're sick? So I like to tell people, if anyone's into bargains, I give you more for less. I look to pair and bundle packages so that you have all the coverage you require and to cover the good or the bad. If something happens and you're able to draw from money, you want to have a policy that you could actually draw from that becomes like a bank, we have options for you. You talk about, some people say, I don't want to use that money because I'm never going to get it back. Well, let's look for something that money is invested for you and you're actually gaining a return on it and you can borrow from that. And if you happen to die, it still functions as a death benefit. It gives you all the coverage that you need. I think when people understand the tool, they're able to apply it better. I don't think they have proper information. Again, they're getting information from their neighbor. They're getting information, and what you talk about mentorship, when you trust someone, but that person's misinformed. I hear people talk about Medicare subs all the time, for example, completely misinformed, giving information with all this confidence. And they're wrong, dead wrong. But that's who you're listening to. That's where we have issues. And people don't look for the truth. I believe you, Kellen, so I'm going to listen to what you said. But what if that's not what you do? I'm really clear when I tell my clients, I said, I'm really glad that you talk to your children about your coverage, but I'm licensed and trained to do this. Are they? And that's, who are you gaining that information? Who are you trusting for that information? That's a big deal for me.
I love it. And since so many people now are, retired before the age of 19 online at least. They've retired their unborn kids. They've retired their parents, but every day they need you to buy a course. And you tell me if my math is wrong, but your $1 million policy, depending if you're in good health and your age, can be like between $25, maybe it's $180. But since you guys are all so rich and driving $80,000 cars and pulling up to my house to do nails and my daughter's hair in cars that I would never, I wouldn't pay. There's other things to buy. But when I do the math, and I'm a fan of Dave Ramsey, it's the reason why I can live debt free. I look at the monthly cost. It's like, so low. And then I think about in over 30 years, maybe you pay 10,000, heck, maybe even pay 100,000 for the people who need it. But isn't it worth having that so you leave an inheritance for your children's children is my thought. Your thought on if they get sick, these people are too rich to get sick. They got more money than the old boy from Apple. I'm Team Android. But, you've seen this over a career. Tell me if my math is wrong. And also tell the people how much it could cost if they get sick, if they prepare now versus sitting in the state home, nursing facility where they just push you towards the window or push you outside. You guys, I've seen it because of other businesses we have. It's sad. So give me the game. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
You are like hitting on one of my buttons, one of my piece of my buttons. So, for example, in your early 20s, you can get $1 million policy for as little as $25 a month. $1 million policy. You can add riders to them for $5 to $6 each rider, including living benefit, which would take care of you and give you 90% of that face amount, for example, so that if you had a stroke, cancer, tumor, some illness that triggered that rider, you'd have 90% of your face value to take care of you, to be able to help you cover the cost of care, nursing home, people coming to the home, because people think that, you have children and you retire or you get sick and your kids are going to take care of you. Those children need to be able to continue to afford their lives. So them stopping to take care of you is not necessarily an option for some children. Not everybody has huge families where people can rotate and help each other out. I am one of those fortunate ones, but that's not the case for every person. That being said, it's literally pennies on the dollar. And if you wanted to get an annuity, which is an investment vehicle, let's just say, those investment vehicles also, based on what you want, you're so rich, put the money into something that's working for you. Make your money work for you, because you can't work forever. This is where wealth starts to accumulate, when you're able to say, I'm going to make this money work for me and be able to cover the bills and my expenses and still have money left over, and be able to teach my children that if you have coverage and you insure yourself, you don't have to take what's in your pocket. You use the coverage that you've gained through insurance for pennies on the dollar. It's the cheapest investment you could ever make in yourself. The least expensive.
So is it an American thing? I'm trying to see, is this an American thing? But the most of the world doesn't even have insurance. I don't even want to talk about my Africans. Hey, when I die, you deal with it type mentality.
It's crazy. It's crazy. How about, and this is my biggest concern for, and I can tell you, my mom is a person I can even speak about. You worked your whole life, you retired, you have a pension, you have your Social Security coming in, and you get sick and you're mentally incapable of taking. Guess what? Nursing facilities don't want you because you have memory issues. Who's covering you then? Who's going to say, hey, I'm stopping everything I'm doing because you might walk out the house? Or, and more and more, the cost of that memory care, I'm not talking about the $5,000 and so $5,000 to $8,000 from assisted living. No, I'm talking about memory care, because they don't even accept you in an assisted living, right? In a place where you go in and they don't accept you there if you have memory issues, Alzheimer's, any of those concerns, anything having to do, you're done. So why are we not investing in that information for people? Why aren't people investing in themselves and their parents? Because if you see your parent doesn't have it, you can actually insure them because you have insurable risk. You have a reason to cover them in the event something happens to them. It's going to end up costing you money. So why not help pay for it? If the parent is not, if the parent's not willing, are you willing to take the risk? I always say, if I insured my business partners, why wouldn't I insure my parents? If they didn't do it, you should.
And I hope you guys are really listening because and I know some of y'all will do this. Hopefully it's not any dedicated listeners here, but I have seen people just leave people in facilities and they don't get any visits, which is so sad. And may you get the same treatment in your older age, the same. But you know, people maybe don't get it because they say, I need somebody from New York who went to school in Brooklyn to do a podcast continually to give me the game. Are there any plans for you to do? She went to school in Brooklyn, you guys. I know you guys haven't our research, but that's where her degree comes from. But is there any area or platform outside of this this podcast right now where you're considering either putting a podcast or YouTube together or even a book to help the people that you can reach?
I have been, as I stated, I've now expanded to social media and I'm not hiding anymore because I realize that my fervent belief that people need to know this is more important than me being shy and private. So I am looking to do a podcast. It's within the next 6 months and building towards it. I'm building up the social media at Clear Health Concepts. In terms of TikTok, that's my new thing. My kids are encouraging, thankfully. I have children who understand this, and although it's not my comfort zone, helping you have the right coverage and having the right information, that is. And that's why I'm working on those things and building those out now. And hoping to say more of yes to podcasts like yours, Kellen, which brings valuable information.
Well, shout out your TikTok so they can find you.
So I have Clear Health Concepts, which is both for Facebook, Instagram, and for TikTok. So TikTok, and they're even working on getting me a Twitch. Don't ask me what that is, Kellen. I just know that it's being put together by my marketing team, which is headed by my child, my daughter. So I am now putting more information, hoping to reach more people because it's not about me. It's about sharing the information and getting it out there across the board.
And is this because, you started, a while back, starting with doing, insurance, but I think you are a new entrepreneur, like fully with your own agency. Anything under 5 years is new, y'all, but she's under 2, if I'm not mistaken. Why did you decide to jump out into this crazy entrepreneur journey? And what type of freedom has it given you? Or has it sucked up all your freedom?
All righty. So yes and yes and yes. I actually started Clear Health Concepts in 2020. And I launched it because I came to Florida and learned about brokering, and it gave me access to a whole new world. That's where I met my first business partner, Evelyn Gutierrez, now Diaz. And she taught me all the under 65 because all my previous education had been in life and Medicare and long-term care. So in that aspect, she broadened the scope by giving me the whole under 65 market, how to represent, how to explain things to them. And so that broadened my view of what was possible and how many more people I can actually help. That being said, it just opened my eyes to a whole new world. And I still kept my work, my corporate work, when I first initiated this process in order to maintain, because freedom, as you say, a new organization, your clients don't pay your bills. Not initially, that's for sure. And what it did show me having my brokerages, I can be able to serve. When my dad got sick, I was able to go back to New York to take care of him, to be there with him, and still serve my clients. Still, I do it telephonically, virtually, and in person. So I offer all those options. And now the real treasure is training new agents to do that. To be able to say, hey, especially women, I want to help you build a business that's going to sustain you, that's going to stay aligned with who you are. And having parents who are older from, being able to be there makes such a world of difference. Having the flexibility to say, well, I'm going to work from here for now, and I'm still able to serve my clients. I'm licensed nationwide, so I can serve clients straight across to California. I'm still able to from wherever I am. And that kind of flexibility gave me power, and it gave me access to people as well as serving. My point is to serve, to help people understand, especially the Hispanic community. And Kellen, I don't know if you know, but I'm also half Haitian. So for my Haitian people too, being able to connect in a language and being able to connect with us culturally and explaining things that they didn't have access to has been my passion. And my parents brought me up. I'm from Brooklyn, but they brought me up culturally. When people ask me, I'm Puerto Rican and Haitian. I've never denied one or the other. I know you like to say it's all the same, right? But being able to interact with them, being able to explain things that are complicated and making those things in their language easy has been the best gift from becoming and launching my own agency. That has been what has really driven me the most.
Yes, yes. And I say that because I can hear the guy at one of my dealerships. No, papi. I'm from España. And it's like, papi, you're as dark as me. Let's do an AfricanAncestry.com test, and I bet you I might be able to get you a citizenship. I doubt Spain, will give you one. I highly doubt it. But to each his own. So you talked about your daughter, and I don't know how old she is, but there's been an increase of how much you can pay your kids. It used to be 12,000. Now I think it's like 14,600. So you guys are already spending $75 meals, $200 meals. Put your kids in the business legally, properly with the CPA. Don't just say Kellen said. No. Go do it the right way. If you're spending money, whether it's volleyball or ballet or jiu-jitsu on these kids, make sure that sometimes their business can pay for the meal, or they can pay. But how long did it take for your kids to push you? Like, did it take 5 years? Something tells me it wasn't just, mom, you should do this. They've been pushing you. I have a feeling. I promise I didn't call anybody for a while. What is like what were you worried about? What were you worried about? Getting online. You see everyone else talking crazy, and half the time they're lying, like on channels like Burn Your Leisure, about things they have no clue of what they're talking about, and telling people to get an Airbnb and get 10 of them and Turos and all this other stuff. What was your hang?
Hello, everyone. Join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney go take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature, and traditions from Yaoundé market to rainforest adventures. Every page na new discovery. Enjoy the Cameroonian food, music, and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores here in Grams Park. Don't miss this adventure.
Well, I think it was my first interaction with social media where one of my clients who felt a little weird was trying to reach out to me online, and that just made me shut it down because it felt uncomfortable, and being in the spotlight made me uncomfortable. I don't mind when I'm speaking to a person. I'm one-to-one aware. I'm helping you. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. But online, when he reached out, it didn't feel that it was in a way of service. And so I kind of like shifted from I changed my last name. I hid myself and I made myself private because I didn't want them to have access to me in that way, and because I have family. I'm a mom, and I didn't want people having access to my family. Now they're adults, and they are pushing me. They are explaining to me, "Mom, you're not able to help as many people as you want because you're not putting yourself up there. And we're old adults. You don't have anything to worry about. We can protect ourselves." So that's why.
Oh, that is so nice. But in the words of your fellow Brooklynite, you've been dealing with that problem probably since you were 13 years old of people pressing up, no matter what the weather is. My nigga, I can't. Or not, I mean, in every language, stop I say, probably even in, Chinese, me how, I mean, you've had to deal with that. So that's interesting because of, you know, the tension that you're gonna get till you get out of here. You might even be in the casket if somebody's gonna make comments, right? They're gonna say, "Look at Jada Pickett's younger sister. Look at Eartha Kitt's grandbaby right there." That's this.
I've learned to just let it slide, let it be. People's opinions now at this point in my life, I'm okay. It's like, hey, thank you. I'm receiving it. Thank you. That's my comment. Thank you very much. My mom and dad. Thank you, mom and dad.
Yeah. And thank God, because some of y'all have, parents that are beautiful, but you aren't. And part of that is the inside. You're too cute, and just ugly inside. And, I go on another podcast and tell you more about that. But, are you gonna go all the way in? Because a lot of times somebody who manages social media influencers, very few of them are able to hold back like who you are during the holidays and full free with your family. We're seeing people go extra, but some people are just extra, and that's why they're winning. Because like Kanye, right? People like it's like he's talking at the barbershop and still until he starts talking about you or dressing up in a Klan thing or looking like a straight up Nazi. Are you going to give us all of you is my question. Are you going to just give us the professional? This is Michelle. Or are we going to see you do, be you fully?
I'm I think turning 50 made me realize I can be me with no permission. I am going to be me. And that's part of what why I connect with people, because I'm always authentic with people. I did say face to face, I interact in a different way because I feel that you connect with the person. It's a little different on social media, but like when we're developing our websites and Purple Insurance Agency is out there and Clear Health Concepts is out there and people are able to connect, they're going to get the authentic me either which way. I am not going to change for people. I hid before. That's no longer the case. My compassion is what's going to connect with the right people and the ones who I believe that if it's not aligned with you, they'll go that way. I'm no longer making that my priority. Right now, it's more important to get the information out, share with people, get agents onboarded. I want to train new agents. That is my passion right now, to show people how to do what we do, educate people, and expand this because it's insurance is an industry that not only does it serve our communities, it creates generational wealth. It is a path to generational wealth. And like I said, having my daughter on board, it's not just about the business, it's about her learning. And if she's interested, she's going to want to continue to grow this because she's grown up in it. And they have a choice. Every one of my children have had a choice. You can choose to be here. I have 3, only one works with me. So it was her choice. She didn't say, I didn't force anyone. And that's what I like about putting myself out there for agents. They want to connect with me because they're like, oh, she's Hispanic. She has an accent. She's short. She's this. I can identify. If she can do it, I can do it. I learned that if we don't put ourselves out there, we don't give other people permission to be who they are. And that's what I'm trying to now empower as well, especially for us women. No offense, Kevin.
Amen. No, not taking. You have to take care of your whatever your purpose is. Everybody can't speak to everybody. And if you only talk to women, that's great because now we have a whole bunch of women who can learn, wait, I don't have to be this entertainer I see selling their soul online and doing the most. I can actually be a professional. That's one of my issues with the Latin community is like when I grew up watching Univision, even though I couldn't understand much of it. But I would see Sabana de Arte and I'd say, where are the commercials? But it's during the detergent when they're just going like this with the woman in the short dress. And then my wife and I, we talk and we say, who are the fighters for the Hispanic community that have been put into the forefront that are, the educators? And AOC can't be the only one. She was a bartender less than a decade ago, right? And we have to, and we know in the Latin community, it's, beauty is a big thing, but you also have brains. You have women. I'm a resident of Mexico. We have a female president. I know she's Jewish, but, she grew up there. You can highlight the brains too, because I've never liked a pretty idiot. So you had to have brains around me. I just can't, talk about rah and whatever is the tea online. But, talk to your audience. What is a community give back that you are doing for your audience, or one that you would like to do in the future? And if so, in the future, how can we help you out with that?
Well, I'd like to just want to address what you were saying about the Univision. And that being said, I had a very strict grandmother that when I tried to dance like Edie Chacon, she explained why I would never do that again because I had her hand burnt. My thigh for a good. Young ladies don't do that. And I think that was instilled in me from the onset. That's one thing why I didn't use my looks to. I've always been intelligent, and that's what I apply. I didn't want my looks to gain me the access. I wanted my brains to gain me the access. And with that, this is why I educate. So, for example, this this coming week, we're going to be hosting a mixer for new agents at Filomena's Bean Coffee in Fort Lauderdale. It's on Federal Highway. That is where people can see what you can get through Purple Insurance Agency and Clear Health Concepts in support to become an agent. We're training brand new agents. You can walk in the door with a license, and we're going to help you to go from newly licensed to business owner within the next few years. That is the goal, and giving them that kind of power and access to their own outcomes. If they're ready to show up, we're ready to help them understand what kind of options they can have. And we're partnering with some of the carriers in the area, and we're growing that and giving people access to go anywhere because you can take that license anywhere. With reciprocity, you're able to get licensed in any other state, and we're giving you the tools to be able to build that. And that is one of the factors. I am also part of Loud Women's Nation, where we empower women by collaborating and not by competition. We believe collaboration is always going to beat competition every day. And I want to know that you have a good heart and you're a good person. And you're honest and compassionate. What you look like doesn't matter to me. Who you are on the inside and what kind of energy you put out for people that you want to help, that's what matters. That's who I look for. So I don't, if you show me that you're not a nice person on the inside, I promise you, you and I are probably not going to have too much of a conversation.
Gotcha. And can you tell the people, for that event that's coming and the events that will follow that are like that, what's the cost if there's a cost? Also, maybe some of the limitations because people hear, wait, hold on, she's going to help me run my business and start my business. She's going to fund it. Now you're a VC firm, right? And
so, as I stated, I help you to learn how to run your own business. Again, I am a business owner and I run my own business. I don't fund other people's businesses. I give you the tools as an agent to start from there, teach you how to build to agency. So that's what we empower you by giving you the education, information, and access via the carriers, via the CRM tools, via the options that we all have in order to help you build a pipeline of clients. And there is no cost for you to come visit us at the mixers. The only thing you will need is to be licensed. So we are currently focusing on the Broward market simply because if anyone knows, AEP, which is the annual enrollment period, is coming up, and there's deadlines to have your licenses and appointments set for September, October. If you don't have those things in place, it's very difficult to get off the ground. So we want to make sure we give you the right tools starting now so that you hit the ground running and you're able to have enough options to continue to build from that point forward. We train.
A big thing people get scared when they say, "Oh, insurance." One, how much is it going to cost me to start? And some people, hey, again, everybody's rich even before they get a job, but then they think about, oh, I might not be that good at math. I don't know if I can pass the test, and that's a real thing. And we have a lot of people who are undiagnosed. Me, myself, I got a dyslexia diagnosis at like 38. I already had a graduate degree for more than a decade. People laugh and say, "You did have dyslexia. How'd you buy that?" But it's a real thing on how you learn. 'Cause I always knew I learned different. I just could not be tested. I would have been put in that class and it would have been like hell trying to get out of that class. And my parents knew that. So I'm like, nah, you can't test it. Just beat them. But, how much, quantum question, how much does it cost to get your license? And if someone's not good at math, are they going to be able to pass the test?
So the licenses, they range from each state has its own cost, but the courses itself, it can go like what you just said, based on how you learn. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory, some people need it in person. So there are many options. They have video learning, they have in-class learning. Every state, because the state requires a certain amount of hours prior to you taking the state exam. What we offer is one, I want you to already have a license, but if you're a person struggling to get the license, I don't mind helping people. I give people access to and resources that, like you say, align with the way they learn. We don't all learn the same. And so YouTube and ChatGPT, between the two, I make jokes. I said, I'm invincible now because I have tools that when I can't explain something, I'm like, hold that thought. Let me find another way to make this easy for you to understand. And that's how we bridge those gaps. I want to reach people where they are. Because for me, like giving them these tools is going to give them access. And as long as they're compassionate, driven, and focused, Kellen, there's nothing that they won't be able to do. If you have the mindset to, I want to be able to help people in this industry, there are a multitude of tools to get there. And the courses are not expensive. So for the course itself, depending on the form, it can go from $100 to $500, depending on the course that you feel would be most suited for you. Like I said, you have video, you have YouTubes, you have and then you have us. Here at the office, you also have us. So one of the reasons why we like in person, and I'm focusing on the Broward team, because I want you to learn and have access to someone in real time. As you're growing, you tend to have questions when you come across one, not beforehand. Like you come into the office, you don't have questions, but the minute you get on the phone with the client and they're asking you questions that you're not familiar with, now that's where we're going to be able to partner in. And we have 3 partners at Purple Solutions. So we all have different styles and we all connect differently. So I think that's the other gift that we bring, a diversity of teaching skills. So that helps and bridges the gap for people who can learn in one way or don't learn that way. And I too am dyslexic, so I understand. But I was great with math. So go figure, right?
And can you give the people so they can say, they won't be confused, what's the difference between Purple Solutions and Clear Health Concepts?
Yeah. So Clear Health Concepts is my agency that I formed in 2020, and I grew in that. As I said, that's how I launched my broker's career. And then with Purple Solutions, I partnered with two strong women who I felt we counter each other and we make a better whole. Because I mean, as an individual, of course, I have my expectations and what I want, but I brought the strengths of two other very prominent women to form a new agency, and we are Purple Solutions Insurance Agency as such, and that's only a year old. So that one's fairly new.
Okay. So you guys have gotten the game. You know that, podcasts / YouTube, all the same thing. Or should be if you want to maximize your monetization. But you guys got the game. And the links are going to be in the description. I want to save something so when she goes on these other podcasts, especially when you see her on Joe Rogan, I think it might be next year, unless she did something crazy, and then who knows. But I let the people know again the easiest way to find you. You guys know not to be creepy, especially you fellas. No, don't be creepy. Don't try to buy up everything and for some other attention. But let them know where they can find you. And any last words?
Clear Health Concepts. So my Instagram, Facebook, and website are Clear Health Concepts. And you can also find me at Purple Solutions Insurance online. We have a website that's up and running. And as far as last words, I just want to say that you're worth insuring and your family's worth being protected. So although you may not understand it, give someone a chance to help you make that decision because it's the right one for you and your family, not because you're misinformed. That's all.
Well, you guys have got the game. I can hear one of you say, but I'm worth more dead than alive, and that's why you need some coverage. So we can make sure this thing can keep on moving. One monkey, don't stop the show. You love the song? It applies to you as well. So you guys, I've got the game. Hey,
Sorry to interject. Just to say though, we can cover people who want to build income within their policy. So you can have it dead and alive, believe it or not. So if we show you a way to make money within your policy that you can use while living, I think you should come talk to me.
Gotcha. You guys got the game. I'm going to take it offline because the stuff I want to talk about is, and I'm going to ask her, but I'm not going to give you guys the answer. We'll have to do a part 2. But I want to know if she has heard anything on insurance, even in depth, because with AI and the cloning, will you be dead if your AI is still talking to people? I've seen it in real life at CES. And I was like, whoa, this is freaky. So you guys, you want more? Stay tuned. Make sure you like, comment, and share, subscribe to this game. Share it with somebody. It will change their life. Also, the financial piece, MillionaireX.ai. Sign up. You can go sign up for free, you guys, and go get some game. Go get yourself a plan. I appreciate y'all for making it to the end. Be blessed, y'all. It's a family business. It's different.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Preparing for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand or 10,000 Kenyan shillings or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.